Once upon a time, two cats were about to fight a dragon. These two cats were twins who had grown up in a cozy town in a blue-roofed cottage near a post office. When they were kittens, they dreamed of exploring the world and being adventurers. Documenting their travels and eating brunch were their main goals. After training for years, they joined a guild and worked their way up the ranks. Finally becoming the adventurers their younger selves would have been in awe of. So when a reckless and dangerous dragon entered the Duke's territory, they were called to trap the dragon and relocate it. This assignment was a huge undertaking, as a few top adventurers had failed before them, and time was running out. Currently, they were on their way to an abandoned castle where the dragon had laid claim. As they walked through the forest on the main path, the air was hot and humid, but the closer they got to the castle, the cooler it felt, and the foliage around them was thick and lush. Perhaps it was the magical water that ran through the underground tunnels that kept this place nice and cool. These tunnels were used by giant mushrooms that loved to harvest the luminescent fish that sparkled like unicorn horns. The mage smiled. With the hood around her face, she kept the sun out of her eyes as she tried to take in the sights around her. Some of the plants were poisonous, but there wasn't enough time to journal. Grabbing an earring from her left ear, she placed it on one of the rocks in front of the tunnel as a GPS tracker. She would investigate later. The gate was just ahead, and the mage confidently walked up the steps while her brother followed behind, albeit a bit slower than she expected. Ever since they had taken on the task of defeating the dragon, he had a consistent look of worry on his face. At first, she wasn't sure what to do, and chalked it up to a bit of nerves before a battle. Although the warrior was an excellent fighter and team player, he seemed to get stage fright up until the first slash of his sword. So she shrugged and focused on the gate's lock mechanism. But when she unlocked the gate and realized he wasn't behind her, she became concerned. What she didn't realize was that this wasn't just some nerves for him. This was the biggest guild assignment he had ever accepted, and it was a lot of pressure. Several steps below, the warrior cat sat frozen. He felt sweaty, his pulse was quick, and his breathing was uncomfortable. There was a knot in his stomach and he didn't know what to do, so he stopped, unable to go much further as his fears had caught up to him. His sister the mage went back and crouched down next to him. "You all right?" she gently said. He squeezed his eyes shut. "I can't do this," he whispered. "How come?" she asked. "I am scared. What if we can't defeat the dragon and get hurt?" He couldn't look her in the eye. "Well, that seems unlikely. We prepared so much for this, and you are the strongest fighter in our guild, and I'm the strongest mage. I can heal us just fine." Good point, he thought, but that wasn't his only worry. "What if my sword breaks?" he said, and gulped. It was his biggest fear. His sword was a precious gift that he got from the snake people. It was a gift from the princess. "Well," she mused, "if your sword breaks, I know a guy who could fix it, and I always have a spare in my magical bag. And what about brunch? What if we don't get enough coins for our vacation?" "We can always go back home to Auntie Owl and eat brunch there. She never lets us pay for her delicious pies." He smiled and couldn't argue with her. She squeezed his paw. "And if you ever feel like you're going to panic again, hum your favorite song low and feel it in your chest. You are so strong. I believe in you." He started humming and placed his own paw on his chest to feel the comforting vibrations, remembering their mother's favorite song about a flower blooming in the hottest desert. It was possible he would defeat the dragon. While he wasn't looking, she pulled out an explosive star from her pocket. She had bought it from a frog alchemist who loved causing chaos. It smelled like cinnamon, oranges, and smoke. It didn't hurt to have a plan B in case something went wrong. Even though it was expensive, nothing could replace her brother. If all else failed, she would throw it and escape with him into the fog. No matter what, she always had his back. And a special thanks to Anna Gaylord, Arage, Derek Moore, Egg Lay, Jessica, Laura Moon, Megan Stinson, and Paige Sullivan.